Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday evening, March 24th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. I would ask that you all remain standing for a moment. Councilor Don Landers recently passed away. Don served 18 years on the City Council and had a distinguished career as an educator and administrator in the Marlborough public school system. I consider Don Marlborough's ambassador, as he always greeted everyone with a smile and loved to show off the city. One of the lasting legacy items will be Don's advocacy for the floating walkway around Lake Williams. There's been a tremendous success and destination for the residents of the city as well as people from around the Commonwealth. So please join me in a moment of silence for Councilor Landers. Thank you very much. You can all be seated. We'll have, there are 16 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the clerk to please start by reading agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting March 10th, 2025.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file the minutes.
Motion made and second, accept and place on file the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, the minutes are filed 10-0. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the application for amendment to a special permit from Green Meadows Farms LLC regarding to allow for medical marijuana sales in addition to adult use marijuana sales at a facility to be located at 239 Boston Post Road West, order number 25-100, 9378.
Okay, this public hearing will be taken up in 4 stages. First, with the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And finally, fourth, questions from the City Council. So I'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. I'll ask you to come on up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, City Council President and Council members. I'm Chris Zawacki, CEO of Green Meadows Farm LLC. We're at 239 Boston Post Road West. In May 2024, we came across Calverde Naturals, which is an aspiring cannabis dispensary in the city, and their location and their rights to 239 Boston Post Road West, and obviously love the location, the amazing commerce there, and we made a bid for their assets. They were no longer pursuing the cannabis dispensary there, which included their rights to the site, their special permit, and the host community agreement. And our goal was to build out our 3rd dispensary in the state. So via lease with RK Centers, we are in the process of building a new structure, which is in its final stages. You may have seen it when you pass along the Post Road. And once that's completed, which hopefully is in the very near future, we'll then proceed with the state's CCC, Cannabis Control Commission inspections with a target opening of an adult use dispensary this summer. Second slide, Steve. Thank you. So we're here this evening to request an amendment to that special permit. We'd like to allow for the medical dispensing of our products to patients. If approved, we would then, of course, move on to the city, to the state's licensing process for medical as well. And also, if approved, the city would, of course, be providing much-needed medical cannabis to the city's patients, always done in a way of quality and safety. And by the way, our host community agreement does allow for medical dispensing as well. Slide 3. Just some quick background on who we are. Green Meadows has been operating in the state for about 5 years. We have 2 other locations in Southbridge and in Fitchburg. Both have dispensaries that are adult use and medical co-located. We also operate cultivation and manufacturing in Southbridge as well. We were named the best dispensary in central Massachusetts 2 of the last 3 years by the Worcester T&G, and we've won multiple industry awards for our products as well, including NECANN in Boston this past weekend, which is the big cannabis event there. Specific to the special permit, our hours of operation would of course be within the limits of the special permit. Product deliveries and cash pickups would not be altered or increased with the addition of medical to our capabilities there. We have ample parking in that lot, in the Hannaford lot there, and RK's lot. And our engineers have designed and built the site to accommodate for both adult use customers and medical patients. And lastly, very quickly, we're a family-owned and operated company. We're owned by the Patton family, legacy of General George S. Patton from World War II fame, of course. I'm joined tonight by Bob Patton, who is our chairman and also my stepfather. And our origin story and mission that brought us to cannabis centers around veterans and serving patients. We at our other 2 dispensaries, we offer one of the best veteran discounts in the state, and it's extremely important for us to serve patients. That's why we got into the industry. It's really the ethos of the business. So again, a thank you for your time and consideration, and your consideration for allowing us to serve medical patients in Marlborough. And I'll turn it over to Bob for a few comments as well.
Thanks, everyone. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time, but again, I'm Bob Patton. It's a family-owned company. I'm the chairman, used to be CEO, but my sons, I have 4 sons, 3 are very much involved with the company. They kicked me upstairs where I can do less harm, I think. But the role I like to play is representing the family and what we really got into this business in the beginning. We opened our first store in Southbridge in 2021. It was about being medical. It was about honoring the legacy that not just our family, but so many families in America, and has become such a great ethic in America to take care of our veterans and prioritize our veterans, and that's about very much about who we are as well. The adult use is, of course, important, both to the community, as a business, all of that good stuff, but it really begins and ends with us in the medical capabilities that we do as a vertically integrated company. So I appreciate the consideration, and also I would like to apologize a little bit. When we started in Southbridge, they were only medical. They were considering an adult use referendum. We went in and we helped educate the community there, a very different community perhaps from Marlborough, but one that's been amazing for us to work with. At that time, because of the nature of this sort of the application process and of just getting to know, we knew everyone. So I would have known all of you by first name and all the rest, and I don't. Now, because to some extent it's probably quite healthy, it's become a little bit routine. I know you have other institutions here in town, cannabis industries, cannabis stores. In Fitchburg, when we moved there, again, introductions were there. We got to know the veteran services officers. We hold classes at Fitchburg State, both on the business side of cannabis and also on the veteran access and education. They were giving us space there. And yet here in Marlborough, I'm probably the least familiar. I mean, Karen Booley we've spoken with and others, and Chris has been on point for the family as CEO, and my son Rob, who's on the marketing and side. So I haven't been here as much, but I swear to you, I want to make that up, because if there isn't that community element, it's not worth doing for us. I mean, it is a business. We want to do well, but we really do try to want to do good as well. And it starts with making sure that it never does become quite routine in cannabis. It comes from a different past. It has different responsibilities, but it has the advantages of bringing people together that might never have thought they'd come together in a dispensary or a store before. And I mean young, 21 and up, elderly, veterans, people that are suffering from ailments, and people that are looking for an adult use adventure on a weekend. You know, it's all in the stores, and it's amazing to see Americans come together in that context when in so many other places we are not together, although I like to think we're getting there. I'll shut up, but thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Bob and Chris, no, you're good. No, welcome to Marlborough. Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition. Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Vital.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 questions, gentlemen. One is, what percentage in the 2 dispensaries that you have right now, what percentage of your business is in medical? And then also, what percentage is for veterans?
So the medical ranges between 12 and 15% between the 2 dispensaries. So it is a fair chunk of our customer base and patient base, but we're working all the time to create more. And it's about 9% are veterans, which is, again, I think a good percentage, and that's reflective of the discounts and the programs that we offer them.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Vital. Any other questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was yielding to the ward councilor. I didn't know if there were any questions before I asked, but first and foremost, as mentioned by our president, welcome. Thank you and to your relatives for the service to our country. Hard to believe I'm standing in front of a relative of General Patton. I'm almost shocked by it, to be honest. I never thought I'd meet a relative, but...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I always say it's an accident of birth, but I am proud to claim it and have tried to, do it proud. But thank you.
And I'm not going to make the questions easier because of that. No, I only have one question. I support pretty much what you're doing, just to give you an intro. But how did you win that award? Was it based on the service to veterans? How did you win that award to be whatever it said, whatever it was? You had it in your presentation.
Kristen explained the criteria.
The award for the best dispensary?
Yes.
It's based on the variety of products, your service, especially including the medical patients, because they deserve, and the state mandates that they have equal, if not better, representation of products on the shelves compared to adult use customers. So it's the facility and how you keep it, it's the products that you have on your shelves and your variety, and then of course the experience that you grant customers and patients.
And just one other note, not that it's been a concern at your dispensary, but there has been issues out in a parking lot in another dispensary, and I was going to ask if your standard operating procedures to avoid any issues of on-site consumption and so forth.
Yes.
If you have standard operating procedures for that.
Yep, we do have SOPs. We train all of our, we call them guest services associates, bud tenders at the register and the POS to give instructions in terms of, the exit bags get stapled and you're not to open that on our premises, not to open it until you get into your private locations. And then of course we have one of the benefits of having a vertically integrated company is we do have a security team, and so we've got surveillance, interior and exterior, and they keep an eye on all of that in all three, in the future, all three facilities. So if we see something that is taking place that's untoward or not within compliance, we'll address that out in the lot.
Excellent. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors? Seeing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing, and this is in Urban Affairs. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Good.
Agenda item number 3.
Now is the time for the continued public hearing of the proposed, zoning map amendment from Raimundo Neto, owner of 36 Jefferson Street, to rezone 36 Jefferson Street, identified as map 56, parcel 153, from Residence B to Neighborhood Business District, order number 2425-100-9330C. And in addition, we have a request from Attorney James McMahon on behalf of Raimundo Neto to continue the public hearing to the April 14th, 2025 City Council meeting.
So this is a continuation of the public hearing. Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we are in sync with the Planning Board for their public hearing and our public hearing being on the same night. The Planning Board did extend their public hearing till April 24th with the caveat that that would be the last extension. Either they withdraw or they be prepared to come and present. So I would move that the City Council continue the public hearing with the same caveat that that's our last extension. They either withdraw or they come prepared to present.
So the motion is made and seconded to extend or continue the public hearing till April 14th, but this would be our last extension. Everybody understands? Any discussion on the motion to continue the public hearing to April 14th, and this being the last time we'll be extending the public hearing? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries to continue the public hearing to April 14th, with this being the last extension. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from City Council President Ossing regarding revised City Council committee assignments.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file the communication from the President with the revised committee assignments.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Communication is filed. Votes 10-0. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from Councilors Ossing and Naven regarding municipal aggregation, March 2025 update.
Councilor Naven.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hard to believe yet another quarter has passed us by. However, Marlborough residential electricity users participating in our municipal aggregation program have saved over $404,000 in the fourth quarter of 2024. This is the city's fourth quarter with this contract with First Point Power, which began in February of 24 and will run through November of 25. The rate is just over 14 cents per kilowatt hour, which is lower than National Grid's basic service summer rate of just over 16 cents per kilowatt hour, which was in effect from August 24 through January of 25. Importantly, this contract provides 100% renewable energy, and our rate is even more cost-effective when you compare it to National Grid's green options. The First Point Power contract saved Marlborough residential electricity users participating in the program more than $2.6 million in calendar year 24. And in total, the municipal aggregation program has saved all users almost $40 million since the program's inception in 2007. So our residents continue to save money, and this program continues to earn praise all across the city. And with that, I move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $41,533.50 for the Recreation Department, which moves funds from senior clerk to equipment and supplies youth activities to fund equipment and field upgrades.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion's made and seconded to refer this item to the Finance Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? This is going to Finance, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $364,051.93 from reserve for salaries to various accounts to fund the collective bargaining agreements with the engineers, foremen, and patrol unions.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The transfer is going to Finance. The vote's 10-0. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding draft open space plan for 2025 to 2032 for public review and comment.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer this to Open Space Committee.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to the Open Space Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. There was a lot of work done on this report. I was working with Priscilla Ryder and the other members of the committee, and I hope everyone gets a chance to review the material that's listening to this, specifically focus on the plans that are involved, the maps of what's in the plans. It's very enlightening, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. So spoiler alert, we were just up at the Planning Board. I'm sure Councilor Roby, through the Open Space Committee, will have Priscilla present to us. There will be a test. So just a spoiler alert. If you want to watch, you can watch the Planning Board meeting. Motion's made and seconded to refer to the Open Space Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? This item's going to Open Space. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from the mayor regarding a report of cemeteries and perpetual care trust fund guidelines pursuant to order number 25-100, 9345A.
Councilor Naven.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is the first report of the cemeteries that we've received based on an order that this council passed just a couple of months ago. I'd like to thank Acting Commissioner Scott and Veterans Director Michael Hennessy, as well as Matthew Sargent, who's been doing a lot of the work here in our cemeteries and has created this report. Pretty impressive that they were able to put it together in such a short period of time since we just passed it. I did want to highlight a couple of things in the Veterans section, just because I know we asked for quite a bit of information. The veterans agent noted that all stones that have been requested are a little bit less than a month away, give or take. That's from the VA, so we are expecting to have a few more stones that should be coming in. And then in the coming months, as we get a stretch of nicer weather, the veterans agent and Matt Sargent are going to be going out to the cemetery to do a more in-depth inventory of what needs to be repaired for veterans' gravestones in particular. So that will be in next year's report, and they will be able to forward this along when they have the information. So very grateful for them for all the hard work that both DPW and our Veterans Office has done. And with that, move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the report from the mayor and the commissioner on the veterans' status of the cemeteries. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The report's going to be filed. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 10.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation on the proposed zoning ordinance amendments to Chapter 650 zoning relative to medical and adult use marijuana testing laboratories, order number 25-100-9351A.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and file the communication.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Communication is filed, 10-0. Agenda item number 11.
Communication from Sudbury Companies of Minute and Militia regarding request for a temporary sign and authorization to place it on city property at the corner of Route 20 and Hager Road from Saturday, September 20th, 2025 to Sunday, September 28th, 2025 for the 2025 Colonial Fair and Muster at the Wayside Inn.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is an annual event that they continue to do. I don't see any issues with this. I'm hoping we can approve it tonight.
Motion made and seconded to approve the request to install the sign that we've done for the last, I don't know how many years. They're the only ones that follow the program religiously. On the motion to approve the sign location, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The sign authorization is approved. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 12.
Application for a special permit from 27 Curtis Ave LLC for the proposed renovation and reconstruction of a pre-existing non-conforming car wash located at 27 Curtis Avenue.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer this to Urban Affairs Committee, set a public hearing for April 28th and advertised.
Motion made and seconded to refer this item to the Urban Affairs Committee. We'll set a public hearing for April 28th and advertise. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none of those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. This is going to Urban with a public hearing April 28th and to advertise. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item 13.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Mr. President.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none of those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item 14.
Claims.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to send the claims to legal.
Motion's made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none of those in favor? Opposed? The claims are going to legal. The vote is 10-0. Reports of committees. Who wants to go first? Councilor Fichello.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City Council's Public Services Committee met on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. We had one item on that evening's agenda, order number 25-100-9377, an application for a taxi livery license from Louise de Lima Gomes of Skyline Limo Service to operate a livery service with one vehicle at 2312 Mayflower Circle. The chair opened the meeting with a brief moment of silence to remember Ward 7 Councilor and former Public Services Committee Chair Don Landers. The chair introduced the voting members of the committee and then read an email from Police Chief David Georgie dated February 26, 2025, which confirmed the Corey report was submitted to the chief and he is without objection to the issuance of the livery license. Councilor Irish asked Mr. Gomes what vehicle he would be using. The petitioner responded that he'll be using a 2025 Tesla Model Y. Responding again to Councilor Irish, Mr. Gomes confirmed that he had spoke to the property management of 2312 Mayflower Circle about the livery service and confirmed that he had adequate space for his vehicle. Councilor Doucette asked the petitioner about his experience in the livery business. Mr. Gomes explained that prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, he was in the business for 4 years. The petitioner stated that he plans to concentrate his service on private clients going back and forth to local airports. On a motion by Councilor Irish, seconded by the chair, the committee recommends approval of the order. On a motion by Councilor Doucette, seconded by the chair, the meeting adjourned at 7:06 p.m. I will be asking for a suspension tonight, Mr. President, to take up this order.
There's been a request for suspension of the rules. Take this up to this evening. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 10-0. Councilor Ficillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee, which is to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the recommendation of the committee, or to move the recommendation of the committee, which is to approve the livery license. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The livery license is approved, 10-0. Who's up? Who else has got a report? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City Council Urban Affairs and Housing Committee met on Wednesday, March 19th. We had two items on our agenda. The first one was order number 25-100-9351, a communication from Assistant City Solicitor Jeremy McManus on behalf of Councilor Ossing regarding proposed zoning amendment relative to medical and adult use marijuana independent testing laboratory. The chair read the letter from the planning board, which we accepted tonight, that had a favorable recommendation on the zoning change, voting 5-0. The change would allow 4 independent testing laboratories in the city, and the order is in proper form. Councilor Navin moved to approve the order. It was seconded, and the vote carried 5-0. This will just lay on the table. It does not need to be referred to the solicitor. As I said, it is already in proper form. And the second item was order number 25-100-9353, an application for a special permit from McDonald's USA LLC for a proposed restaurant with a drive-through facility use within the Wayside Zoning District located at 735 Boston Post Road East. Councilor Doucette recused himself from this discussion, and Sobolowski, on behalf of McDonald's, introduced herself, Eric DeBrule from Bowler Engineering, and Sean Kelly from Chappell Engineering. The chair read through the comments from the department heads and began reviewing the draft special permit. Councilor Navin asked about number 5, sign-in awnings, and Ms. Sobolowski handed out a photo of the sign, which is 4 foot by 4 foot. He stated he wanted to make sure the applicant followed what is in the Wayside District. They will be coming back to us for a sign permit, so we will have discussion there. Number 15, lighting was revised to delete the word unreasonable before light trespass to match the suggestions of Ms. Ryder. And number 16, landscaping was amended as suggested by Ms. Ryder to add to the end of the last sentence as may be amended during site plan review. Number 19, severability of conditions. At my suggestion, that one was strucken from the draft. Councilor Preciado asked if this would be owned by McDonald's Corporate, and the response was that prior to building it would be placed with a franchise with a lease. Councilor Navin moved to approve the draft special permit for a drive-through service window for McDonald's as amended. It was seconded, and the vote carried 4-0 with Councilor Doucette recused. I would like to ask for a suspension so this can be referred to the solicitor.
Before I ask for the suspension, Councilor Doucette?
Yes. I'd like to recuse myself from the vote.
Please let the record reflect that Councilor Doucette will not be participating on this vote. Been a request for suspension of the rules. Any comments? Motion to approve the suspension. Opposed? Suspension carries 9-0 with 1 abstained. Councilor Roby?
Move to refer this to the solicitor to be put in proper form to be on our next agenda for a vote.
Motion made and seconded to send this up to the solicitor, put in proper legal format. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The item's going to legal. The vote is 9 in favor with 1 abstained. Next, Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two quick committee reports. First, Personnel Committee met very briefly on March 19th at 7:15 to consider 4 reappointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals. However, we did not have any of the members present, so there was a motion to postpone, and we did so, and I believe that we adjourned at about 7:16 p.m. Following that, the Veterans Affairs Committee convened at 7:30 p.m. All members of the committee were present. We were joined by Council President Ossing, Councilors Ficillo, Irish, Roby, Preciado, and Doucette. Additionally present to discuss the order was our Veterans Director, Michael Hennessy, and Matthew Sargent. There was one item on the agenda. It was order number 25-100-9385, communication from Mayor Dumas regarding the proposed order on the naming of veteran city squares throughout the city. The chair read the mayor's letter and the accompanying order for naming the squares and places for, here we go, Philip David Berter Square, Clarence Hinkson Square, Amadei Lecure Square, Mark Joseph Santolo Square, Charles Demeter Cosma Square, Alfred Desmarais Square, Arthur Charles Beausoleil Square, David H. Bishop Square, and then right behind City Hall, the new plaza will be named the Gold Star Families Plaza. Director Hennessy and Matthew Sargent explained the process that resulted in this request and that Marlborough will continue to recognize veterans both past and present. John Manning, president of the Marlborough Veterans Council, informed Mayor Dumas in writing that the Veterans Council met and agreed to the naming of the 8 city squares to be named for individual veterans, saying that the veterans chosen were picked from the master list of deceased Marlborough veterans. Additionally, the Veterans Council supports naming the plaza behind City Hall in honor of the Gold Star families. Councilors were in support of the mayor's request, and on a motion by Councilor Vital, seconded by the chair, the committee recommended the approval of the order as submitted, and the vote was 3-0. On a motion by Councilor Vital, seconded by the chair, the committee adjourned at 7:56 p.m. I'd like to ask for a suspension of the rules to act on this evening.
There's been a request for suspension of the rules. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 10-0. Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee, which is to approve order number 25-100-9385, communication from Mayor Dumas regarding proposed order on the naming of veterans city squares throughout the city.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the Veterans Committee, which is to approve the naming of the squares in the plaza behind City Hall. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries and the vote is 10-0. Any other reports of committees? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public service announcement, Finance Committee will meet on March 31st, 2025 at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Anyone else? We're good. Agenda item 15.
Order number 25-100-9358, a communication from City Council President Ossing with proposed amendment to Municipal Aggregation Order number 19-100-7578B. Recommendation of the Finance Committee is to approve.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the committee, which is to approve the order. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The order carries. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item 16.
Order number 25-100-9375, a transfer request in the amount of $626,812.24 from PEG funds to Marlborough Cable Trust to fund the operating and capital budgets of the WMCT-TV for fiscal year 2026. The recommendation of the Finance Committee is to approve.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the transfer, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer request. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The transfer carries. The vote is 10-0. Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adjourn.
Motion's made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:32. Have a good evening, everyone.